Now, you've probably heard their commercial going out on the radio station, and the fact that we first met these at last year's CRE. I'm talking, of course, of Operation Agri, and joining me now is the Treasurer, James Townsend. Hi, James.
Hi, Gareth. You all right?
I'm very well, thank you. So I guess we need to start by asking, what is Operation Agri and how did it all begin? Because people will have heard the advert, may have heard phrases like farming and growing. What's it all about?
Well, Operation Agri is really a sort of a son of Baptist Missionary Society, the men's group that formed a good 60 odd years ago under BMM, the title then. And then a gentleman called David Stockley decided, he was an agriculturalist, and he decided that it would be good to support developing countries and especially sustainable farmers by sending out live chicks and live small animals to actually help the farmers develop their farming techniques and to breed chickens and obviously provide food and a livelihood for local farmers. And Operation Agri has developed from there. We've now been operating some 60 odd years, close to 65 now actually, and we support not only farmers, sustainable farmers, but as a result of supporting the farmers, we found that a lot of farmers weren't able to read or write. We found that they needed local health care. We've found, obviously with the education, we found that a lot of women do the farming in many of these countries, developing countries. And I'm thinking there of Uganda, Tanzania, different projects in India, right across Africa and Asia. We actually support numerous projects that provide vocational training in Uganda and in Pakistan. We provide healthcare and education in a number of these countries as well. And it's all developed from initially supporting sustainable farmers. And that's our sort of prime focus. Our caption, if you like, is Operation Agri, Christian Love in Action. And we know the adage, don't we? You give someone a fish, they'll eat for a day. And if you teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime, and their families and their communities will survive for many years to come. And it's very much that focus that we have, supporting various projects, as I said, through education, vocational training, sewing, tailoring, mechanical engineering in various countries, Uganda, for example. We have a new project, which is an agricultural project in Sierra Leone that we're working with. We work through projects, partners in Nepal, more farming technique development in Zambia and Malawi. And so there's a whole host of different projects and that we support because we have supporters through the people that we met at CRE, for example. And we were able to meet quite a few folk there that knew all about us and had supported us for many years, but never actually met us. So we had a great opportunity at that particular show. That's why we're going back, of course.
Just tell us, James, because there'll be people who may not know the difference between sustainable farming and regular farming.
Well, you can actually. I have to say, I'm not an agriculturalist, as you said right at the beginning. I'm the treasurer, and so I'm probably not the best place to answer this particular question. But if you think about it, it speaks for itself. Sustainable farming means sustaining themselves largely. So it's a lot of small farms working to produce and to grow food for themselves and their families. And if there's any surplus, maybe sell at the marketplace to obtain some funds to enable children to go to school, for example. A lot of countries, education has to be paid for. We're really blessed in that way, obviously, in this country and in Europe and Western countries. So sustainable means just that, sustaining oneself and one's family regular farming, and you tend to find now, of course, across the world, much larger corporate farms, which is a different story entirely. And they don't need, in the same way, they don't need the sort of support that we're offering. Operation Agri, if you wanted a tagline, was small charity with a big impact.
And I guess you'd think, wouldn't you, that farming is something that normally runs in the family. And what can sometimes happen is that people are trained in one thing such as farming, and then they think that potentially education doesn't matter and healthcare doesn't matter because that's been their focus for such a long time. But what Operation Agri does is they say, right, well, keep on doing what you're doing, that's great, but we also want to help you get educated and, of course, get healthcare.
Absolutely. And also as part of that, there's women's empowerment, which is actually teaching women who don't generally get education in some of these countries, not all of them, but in some of the countries. And so, for example, in Bangladesh, we're supporting children to go to school. And in Uganda, we're teaching women and young girls to be able to read and write, which they're not able to do because they're not trained initially to do that, or they're not educated initially. And so that is why we support them in this way. And of course, healthcare as well, especially in the local communities. Healthcare is absolutely vital, as it could be miles, maybe hours away before they could get to any real medical centre. And so providing health workers that travel around the communities, these small rural communities, helps the farming, small farms, to actually, and the people in those farms, small communities, to learn about the importance of healthcare. And of course, clean water. And we hear a lot about clean water with WaterAid and similar organisations.
It just makes me realise, and it's probably the same with you, that don't we take all these things for granted in the UK? We like to moan about, don't we? But we like to moan about hospital waiting times, and we like to moan about the cost of water. But are we blessed to have all these things that we take for granted? I mean, nobody, regardless of their background in the UK, is not offered free education or free healthcare. Nobody.
No, that's right. You're absolutely right. We are blessed. And don't we go through this process every year that when it's raining, we complain about the rain. Yeah. And when it's sunny, it's too hot.
So I always imagine that heaven's up there thinking, there's no pleasing you lot. First of all, you were moaning about it being wet, and now it's too hot.
Yeah, thought after my own heart. I think that is very much that. And it's... what we tried to do is to help farmers, for example, to learn how to produce their own organic fertilizer rather than paying out substantial sums for more commercial fertilizers. And they can do this, and it's relatively elementary, but for some reason, teaching is necessary, training is necessary to do that, and improving agricultural techniques. That's something that was originally focused on.
I guess as well, that's where it comes down to education, because sadly, the farmers may not know what they're putting on their crops. And if somebody tells them that this is a safe fertiliser or this is something that you need to put on your crops, they may be putting it on there not knowing that actually this could harm the people who start eating the crops.
Yes, that's very true. And we know this ourselves in the Western world with regard to the chemicals that are used. And obviously the chemicals are being changed, being stopped in many worlds. That's why we have organic food in the supermarket, isn't it?
And how is all this great work funded? Where do you get the money to help other people with?
Well, we work with a number of different churches throughout the UK, and we're trying to actually work with different denominations of churches as well, emanating from the Baptist Missionary Society. First and foremost, we were Baptist, but we have a number of other churches and individuals now supporting us because they recognise the work that we are doing. As mentioned earlier, we're a smallish charity, but we have a big impact with direct and indirect beneficiaries last year in excess of 20,000. So substantial number of people are benefiting across these projects.
Now, how long have you worked at Operation Agri, or at least been a part of it for?
I've been there about 6-7 years now. And my main role is treasurer, as you say.
And I bet in that time you'll have met people who have maybe worked there longer than you have, and they've got some great stories of how Operation Agri have helped. So we know here at the radio station that there's so much power in a story and a testimony. So I've kind of caught you off guard here and I've not prepared you, but is there any kind of stories of how lives have been changed by Operation Agri that you could share with us?
Well, I guess one of the key ones is in Bangladesh, where young girls are being put through education, which they wouldn't be put through, certainly at an early age. And so we're able to support the young children in Bangladesh. Farming is another one, as I mentioned earlier. Farming in Zambia, where lives are being changed because the farming techniques have been improved. And so, as I mentioned earlier, organic fertilizers, irrigation techniques to retain moisture in the land, and so larger crops. And so lives are changed in that respect.
Now, our listeners can do their bit by simply going to a very special dedicated web link here, which we've set up between us, and that is breadandhope.uk. breadandhope.uk. Now, maybe you would like to gift Operation Agri something financially, or maybe you want to find out more and to read some of the great positive stories on there. So again, that website is breadandhope.uk. And thank you very much, James. We broadcast nationally, so I want you just to tell our listeners if you're at any events across the country, because we saw you at CRE and you've done previously Spring Harvest. Where are you this year?
Well, we're going to be back in October at CRE. May see you there again. So it is an important show for us now. It's become that since attending last year. We're at the Heathfield show, which is an agricultural show. A well-fun day out with livestock and lots of things happening there. Come along and see us. We look forward to seeing you. We're going to the Hayes Fair in Hayes in Bromley, Kent. We'll be going to that. It's only a day, an afternoon show. Do come along. And there are other shows that if you go to the website, you can look up the information there. But we'd certainly look forward to seeing you, and thank you for all your support and your prayers too. We really appreciate them, of course.
Thank you for your support as well, because we always say that our partners, we help them, but also they help us. So that website is breadandhope.uk. And James, looking forward to seeing you and the team at this year's CRE, which I know October seems like it's ages away.
I know.
It's not really easy when you think about it. Summer's not that far.
It comes around awfully fast, yeah.
God bless you and the team, James, and thank you very much.
And you too. Thank you very much. Bless you.